Okay, today is February the 22nd, 2017, and right now at 10 p.m. in the foothills of Los Angeles, we have a temperature of 46 degrees. The relative humidity is 56%. The barometer is reading 30.01, which has dropped, and the dew point is 33 degrees. We had cloudy skies all day and some light rain, which lasted about 10 minutes in the late afternoon. All right, so we're watching the western U.S. water vapor loop. We can see a gale force weather system right here, which is moving towards California. This presumably will bring us the rain on Sunday. And we can see a right angle. We've got a straight edge right here and sort of a right angle. Let's stop the loop and take a look at that. So they've got a transmitter. The weather controllers are using transmitters on these weather systems to weaken them. And we can see that right there. This system has a core pressure, I think, of about 1,020 millibar. Also, we have winds in the foothill areas right now because of high pressure that's been installed right here in this area, right next to this low pressure system right up here, which moved through Northern California yesterday. And we can see that moving into Nevada and Utah right there. Now, this has a rectangle on that. Let's take a look at this in the infrared loop. We can see a very well-defined rectangle right here towards the end of that loop. And so that's a microwave transmitter right there, generating that rectangle, that square. It's actually more of a square. And that will peel off a lot of this moisture away from the center of that weather system. Also, we have a transmitter generated blockade all through here, which is separating this jet stream flow out of the tropics. This blockade right here is separating all that warmer weather, this jet stream moisture, from this colder North Pacific weather, which is dropping down. So we've got the wind, we've got high pressure spinning clockwise right here, and we have the counterclockwise system spinning the other way, and that's bringing the wind right down through the area into the foothill areas. Let's look at the bigger map, the Northeast Pacific water vapor loop. We can see a storm front right here. This is a storm system which is moving to the north, but there's a very large moisture field right here which is moving down towards the Hawaiian Islands. And of course, we see what's happening here. They've installed high pressure right on top of these Hawaiian Islands, and that will prevent any of that wild weather from getting over the Hawaiian Islands. And we see this all the time. And this is sort of suggests that the whole operation is a U.S. Based weather modification program. You can see what's happening there. There's no way that this moisture is going to get anywhere near those islands. And we see this weather system right here. This is that gale force system, which has a transmitter right here on the west side, which will prevent this moisture from getting sucked into the low pressure vortex right there. So they've got this thing blockaded on the west side, and the islands are completely surrounded by high pressure, which will blockade this. This entire frontal system is going to have to do something because it can't get down here. It'll probably end up moving up into Alaska. It has to find a path, and we can see that it actually is moving up into Alaska. Okay, and we see the jet stream moving through. It's been broken up, that high pressure. This is a transmitter generated high pressure area right here, which has cut off it's evaporated all the moisture right here in Southern California. So that brief rain period is moved along. We can see that moisture is not there anymore. Okay, let's take a look next. Here's the water vapor map. We can see that jet stream moving away from Southern California. Now on the East Coast, we can see that that separation all through here, which is this is the tropical jet stream flow right here, Pineapple Express, which is separated from all this cooler North Pacific weather, which is blowing to the east. Hopefully you guys back east will be getting some rain and snow from all that blowing in. Also, we have a low pressure system right down here off of Florida, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens with this situation here. We've got a blockade all through here, and we've got this low pressure here, and also looks like a storm out here in the North Atlantic. All right. Okay, let's take a look at the pressure chart. This is the surface analysis map. We can see that we've got a 1,020 millibar low moving towards Southern California. There's high pressure right behind it, like we were showing, and that's going to blockade all this very large storm front from getting into that low pressure system. So this is all blockaded with high pressure. We've got a 952 millibar storm system right here moving. That's a hurricane force system, by the way, moving to the north. And we've got a low right here sitting right off of Southern California, 1,025 millibar right there. All right, let's take a look next at the swell report. We've got 18-foot swells generated by that Gale force system right out here. And the jet stream will be running to Southern California and Central California. Here's the water vapor map for the, this is the SSEC water vapor map. We can see that run angle right here. They pull the power off of this system, it'll spool right back up like we saw last week with that storm system that moved into Southern California. Out here, it was around a 997 millibar system, and as it moved in, they pulled the power off of it, and it developed into about a 983 millibar system as it moved right in, right here over Los Angeles. All right, let's look next at the pressure charts. We have the sea level pressure, and we have a surface to upper level low right here. And this is probably going to bring us the rain over the weekend. Now, on the 500 and 300 millibar maps, we're going to see a lot of squiggly lines right where that low is moving into Nevada and Utah, and that is, they've got that rectangle. That transmitter is right on top of that system, generating a rectangle. Let's take a look at that. You can see all the squiggly lines from the manipulation taking place. These squiggly lines represent varying degrees of high and low pressure in this area where all this manipulation is taking place. We go back to the map once again here, the western U.S. map. We can see that that square right there. That is a transmitter-generated square, a feature. That's not Mother Nature doing that. And so all that high pressure also from this blockade, separating the jet stream from this cooler North Pacific weather, all this through here, this blockade is generating those squiggly lines here on the 500 and 300 millibar map. See those here. Also, there's a low right down here off of Mexico. Now on the 300 millibar map, we see the same features, all these squiggly lines. In fact, all the way up into Washington, we see the same thing. So there's a lot of manipulation going on. We have that high pressure that's following that low right through. We've got high and low pressure right next to each other, plus that transmitter, which is, again, right on top of that system, preventing its development as it moves out to the east, right here. We've got high pressure here and low pressure here. And the winds are blowing outside. Okay, so that's the report for today. And we'll leave it right here. Take a look at this, and we'll stop this and just leave it right here. And leave that for discussion among ourselves. And there it is. Okay, that's it. We'll do another update later on.